Hey, my name is Kathleen, and I really struggled to keep up with my reading while I was at university. It was hard to make it a priority. In this week's episode, I'm going to unpack my reading system. All of these ideas come from other people that I look up to who manage to read heaps. And by following their tips, I've been able to create a reading system where I read about 1 to 2 books each week. But why should you be reading more books? Well, let's start with this guy called Corley, who spent 5 years studying the habits of millionaires. He found that people's daily habits would determine how successful or unsuccessful they would become. And one of rich people's most common habits was reading for self-improvement or education for about 30 minutes each day. I'm editing this now and realize that I need to say this example doesn't have to be about wealth or trying to become rich. Here I'm trying to illustrate what it means to be a high performer because we all have that potential. And reading is this habit we can cultivate to become a high performer. Plus, we also know that reading has a host of benefits for our brain, which includes strengthening neural connections, reducing stress, and improving your memory and concentration. And finally, if I got to go back and be in my early 20s again, or if I was studying full-time, I would make reading one of my top priorities on par with exercise and sleep, because it's a great way to level up in your studies, in your self-improvement, and overall just become a more interesting person from the amazing things you can learn and then share with people. And at uni, you just have a bit more flexibility with how you use your time. So to increase your reading, what you want to do is make it become a daily habit that you're working on consistently. And the first thing you can focus on is making it obvious. For example, I've made reading obvious to me by doing it as soon as I wake up each morning. This idea came from my supervisor during honors, who told me that she would read a journal article every single morning before getting out of bed. What's clever about this is that she made it obvious using cues like time, so when she woke up, and her location, which was her bed. These eventually started to act as triggers that would prompt her to read every single morning. And personally, I think reading at the very start of your day is one of the best ways to make it a habit, because we're less likely to do it during the middle or the end of the day. And by doing this consistently, I found that I'm able to read about 3/4 of a book during the week and then finish it off on the weekend. Plus, it also makes you feel like you've started your day really productively, which just sets a nice tone for the rest of the day. Next up, another law of behavior change is to make it easy. I feel like everybody uses a Kindle now, but if you haven't, go out and order one now. It will honestly change your life. And I know it's a lot nicer to read a hard copy book, but with Kindle, it just makes it easier to buy books from Amazon. They're quicker to read. Plus, you can highlight sections and then get them emailed to you, which is just so handy, particularly if you're studying a certain topic. And all of this being said, I do understand the financial struggle of being a student, where buying books continuously might be a bit of a luxury. So if you can't afford to buy books continuously, there are other websites where you can download them for free and get them sent to your Kindle for a small fee. Obviously, use your own judgment when you make this choice. But I should mention that one downside, if you choose to go down this route, is that you can't email yourself Kindle highlights. Finally, make reading attractive. If it's not something that you enjoy, or you have to read something really dense at uni, pair the activity of reading with something that you love but rarely have access to. This could be having a delicious snack that you don't often let yourself eat, or something like reading in a luxurious bubble bath. Another thing you could do if you're struggling to get into the groove with reading is to read a genre that you absolutely love. Like, occasionally I do start consuming more social media than I want to be, so I'll just start reading a book by one of my favorite authors. But then, as I start to find my flow, I make myself stop, read some of the educational book, and then I'll go back to reading the book I enjoy if I want to, as like a reward. And this helps me continue to associate the act of reading with something that I enjoy doing. Plus, I have also implemented Tim Ferriss's strategy from his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, where I only let myself read fiction just before I go to bed. This way, I feel like I'm giving my brain a proper break. It helps me continue to enjoy the experience of reading, and it's way better for your sleep compared to scrolling through social media. So, those are my 3 key tips. But one final thing you can do to improve a habit is to make it satisfying. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, read this book if you haven't, recommends that you should use a habit tracker because the sensation of ticking off a habit and then seeing your progress over a long period of time feels really motivating. Personally, I don't do this anymore because reading has become so ingrained. But if you're just starting out, honestly, go and download a free habit tracker app now. It will change your life. But look, I have gone on long enough now. I really hope that these ideas help, and I hope that you can create your own reading system. Have an amazing week, and maybe I will see you in another of my videos. Bye!